Hey guys, Rubber Tramp Renegade here. Today I want to start on a new project for the camper trailer, but before I get started I want to just thank everybody who has bought stickers. I really appreciate that. Everything helps. I really am selling those stickers in order to upgrade the camper. Now my first goal was to get a Jackery, but one of my subscribers mentioned, why don't you build a battery box by yourself? And I'd never really thought about that. So I started doing some research on YouTube thanks to that subscriber, and these ammo can battery systems are just awesome. So I'm going to try my hand at that. It's about half the cost of a Jackery, and we'll see what happens. So I've got everything here to build it, and I want to mention that everything you see in today's video can be found on my website, rubbertramprenegade.com. I've recently switched over to a new website. The past couple weeks I've been building a new website. My first website was basically just a blog. My new website it's not only got my blog posts on there, but it's got everything I use when I go camping. It's got everything I use in any of my builds, and then I've got it separated down to project-specific equipment. So if you're wanting to build a battery box like this, you can go to my website and go to the gear that I use and select projects, and down in the project list you'll see this battery box, this ammo can battery box. If you'll click that, there will be a link to every single thing you need to build one of these on your own. There's also other projects, and I'll be updating that list in the future to include old projects that I've done, but I've got my awning build on there. I'll have this on there. There's several of them on there as well, but I'm going to go ahead and keep that website going. Any project that I do in the future, I'll update that to include all the parts for you. So anyways, here's what I've got for today's video. I have a 33 amp hour deep cycle battery. This is a solar type battery. It is meant for deep cycle and continuous charges, depleting the battery and then recharging it. Not every battery is that way. This is a sealed lead acid battery, and the dimensions are almost perfect to fit inside this ammo can here. So the ammo can that I have it's a 50 caliber ammo can. I went with the black one. You can get on pretty much any color that you want, but since the trailer is gray and black, I decided to make this ammo can gray and black. So battery, ammo can, I've got a solar charge controller, just a cheap one. Now I may not need this because the solar panel that I have is only a 30 amp solar panel, but if I upgrade in the future, I want to be able to do that with no issues. The solar panel that I got is a TP Solar. It's a 30 amp. I keep saying 30 amp. It's a 30 watt. Excuse me. And so this is a 30 watt panel. It's in this nice little carrying case, and it basically just folds out to a little panel here. So I've already tested this for my phone. It has some charge ports here at the end. It's got two USBs and then another port here for the cord it comes with. And I've actually charged my phone with this, no problem. It works great. So I'm excited to have this. This is a nice new addition for camping. Even if I don't use it with the battery box, I could just charge my phone or my computer with it. So I'm excited to have this little toy and see what it can do. Alright, the next thing that I have are some switches here, and I got a package of them, and I don't need all of them, but it was cheaper to buy a package of them than just one individual one. And basically it's just a toggle switch, and it's got a little LED light in it, so you know if it's on or off. That's the switches. I did go ahead and get some of these little LED lights, and they're kind of neat. I'm anxious to see how bright they are. They're waterproof. They've got a little rubber grommet around them, but the plan is to put a switch on here so I can have somewhat of a flashlight, or I can set this down in camp if I need some light somewhere, maybe to start a fire when it's dark. I'll have lights to do that. Next thing I got is a battery tender junior, and that is to charge the battery. Say it's sitting in the garage or sitting in the house, I can charge it this way, just recharge it. And then the other charging option is basically just a 12-volt cord. Now this 12-volt cord is similar to what I used in the trailer there when I wired everything, and it's got a fuse inside here. So it's fused, but basically I can plug this in the cigarette lighter in the truck and then plug it into the ammo can while I'm driving down the road and charge the battery. So that's the charging of it. So I've got a battery tender, I can charge with the truck, or I've got the solar panel. The next thing I have are these ports. Now I did get these 12-volt ports and USB ports, and you can buy these individually, but this little panel here with the switch, the gauge, USB, and then 3 of these 12-volt ports, this was $25. And if you break it down, it's cheaper to buy this and then take it apart and use it how I need it. If you buy every piece individually, it's like $6 or $8 for each piece, and it adds up quickly. So I think it was like $60 if I bought all of these items separately, and it was $25 if I bought it this way, or $26 somewhere in there. So that's what I went with. But I am going to be taking this apart because I don't have room to put this on here and have the battery fit inside the box. So I will be taking that apart and moving things around. And then to do the project, I got these step bits. I picked these up at Harbor Freight. You can buy them at Amazon. It was going to take a little longer to get these from Amazon than just going to Harbor Freight and picking them up. So that's what I'm going to drill the box with. Now if you have a drill press, it's probably going to make the job easier, but I've just got a hand drill and it'll do just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to kind of measure everything out and see where I want to put everything. Alright guys, so let me show you what I've got so far. I have the battery and the solar charge controller sitting in here, and you can see I've just got that sitting there. I have a piece of wood here, and that keeps the battery from sliding this way. And then if you look on the other side, if you can see that, there's one going the whole length. Now this battery has a little bit of a gap, and this wood that I had laying around fits in there perfectly. It is basically a 1/2 inch by 5.5. Not really sure exactly what it's called, but I'll try to find a link to Home Depot and put that on there, because that's where I got this when I was working on the truck bed drawers. It says the sticker says 1/2 inch by 6, but it's 5.5 tall, which most lumber, that's say a 2x4, it's not 2x4, it's 3.5. But anyways, the plan is to put the battery here, put the solar charge controller here, and this can still close, and then I'm gonna have some ports here on this side, some ports on the back side, and then hopefully my lights and everything in the front, but we'll see how that goes. I'm gonna have to start drilling and laying everything out. Alright, well, I've got all the holes drilled where I want them, and so I don't have everything in here, but I've got a 12-volt plug here with a switch, another 12-volt plug with a switch. This is going to be the battery coming in if I'm charging it while I'm driving. This is going to be for the solar charger, the input on the solar, and this is going to be on a switch. That way I can turn the solar charge controller off when I'm not using it, because it does draw down the battery just a little bit. If say you've got the battery sitting there, that charge controller has a display that constantly stays running, so I want to be able to turn that off. On the front side, I've got, this is just in here loosely, but I'm going to have my switch for my gauge. That way I can turn it on and off. And then here's the switch for the lights. I'm going to have 4 lights in here at the end. And then on the other side, I've got a switch for my USB and a switch for another 12-volt plug. Now, if you remember in the camper, I have a cord that just plugs in. So I'll just be able to plug the camper into one of these 12 volts here, and then pretty much go with it. So I'm going to try to get everything put in and get it buttoned up here. Alright guys, well I had to kind of stop and take a break and come back to it, but I've got it all complete, and it's about 11 p.m. I really need to get in bed. I've got to get up early in the morning, but I want to show you real quick. Here it is. Everything just barely fits in here. Down at the bottom I have the volt gauge, and you can see that is on that switch. Here's these LED lights, They're pretty bright. Now I can set that down to try to start a campfire, have some light and see what I'm doing if I needed to, or I could use it just pretty much anywhere. I can leave it in the camper and have light in the camper. This side is the in side. Now this is where, you know, I guess I can use this as an output. I can charge off of that, but mainly what I put this in here for was to charge it with the trickle charger or the truck there, and that's why I've got these extension cords. That's a 12-volt extension cord. One will go in the cigarette lighter in the truck, the other one go in here and charge that way. This top one here is for the solar, and this basically goes into the battery or into the solar charge controller. I don't have to turn the switch on to do that. So basically you plug this in and it'll go directly into the solar charge controller, which you can see I still have to screw it down, but it fits in there pretty snug. It's just right level. But if you'll see, this charge controller is off. The switch I have wired up so that it can turn that on and off. And the reason you want to do that is if you don't have it switched like that, that charge controller hooked to the battery is just going to show that volt reading constantly. So even though it's not much of an amp draw, it will run the battery down slowly. On this side I have 12-volt port here, and that is where I'm going to hook into the camper. This one down here is like a phone charger, USB. So basically that's my little battery box. I'll go over it a little more detail in another video, but I just wanted to real quickly show you that. I do have one fuse that pretty much goes to everything. Now I've got a 10 amp in there. For what I'm using it for, 10 amp is fine. I don't think I'm going to be drawing any more than 10 amp. I could probably even go down, maybe 5 or 7.5, but I have the fuse box in the trailer itself. So that's really all I need to do is hook to the trailer and maybe charge a phone, but that's it. I'll go over this again. Like I said, I'll hook the solar panel up in the sun and see what kind of charge we get on it, and we'll go from there. But anyways, I appreciate you guys watching, and y'all have a good one.